So who's the best person or source to go to for great financial advice? It may not be what you expect, so tune in right now. All right, so there's no shortage of financial advice out there today. I mean, everybody's giving you financial advice, even social media influencers that they barely are in their early 20s are just like coming up on life. They're like, I got something for you, right? Somebody who might have made a little bit of money in Bitcoin, they're like, hey, I'm a financial expert now. Maybe they made a little bit of money in real estate when real estate was easy. Now they're a financial expert, right? How do you know who to go to? Is even your financial advisor? I'm gonna tell you that in many cases, it may not be any of these people that you wanna get financial advice from. But how do you know? How do you know what's better, what's worse? Who's got the best advice for you that's gonna ensure that you can not only create money now, but also keep money later? That's what I wanna talk about in this video. All right, so let's talk about this financial advice. Like I said, anybody can give financial advice. You don't even have to be licensed to give financial advice. You don't have to be a financial advisor. You don't have to be an accountant or a CPA. You could be anybody. I mean, you could be any stranger off the street, especially nowadays. There are people that are literally like just coming off the streets telling you, here's the financial advice I would give you. Now, this is what I've learned over time because I used to be the guy that thought I could give you financial advice. I was in my early to mid 20s. I was a financial advisor. I thought I knew everything. And I remember I sat down with my brother-in-law at one point. Now, you gotta understand, my brother-in-law, he came from a wealthy family. His dad was a self-made millionaire. His dad, in the 1960s, went from homeless to 19 years old, owning an auto dealership, and at 21 became a millionaire. Just so you know, being a millionaire in the 1960s was way more impressive than being a millionaire today. Today, you can be middle class and still technically be a millionaire. But he became a millionaire in just a few years by the time he was 21 years old in the 1960s when $1 million really meant a lot. I remember like sitting down with my brother-in-law, I thought, you know, as a financial advisor, if I can get in with him, get in with the rest of his family, I'm gonna be set for life as a financial advisor. I can just manage this family's money and it'll pretty much pay me enough to be able to, have a comfortable living. So I made sure I was well prepared going into this meeting. Now, understand, I was a financial advisor for 4 years, the traditional mainstream advisor. So this was about 3 years into my journey. So at this point, I was pretty confident. I knew that most people I sat down with, I knew more about investing and mutual funds, at least mutual funds, than they did. But when I sat down with him, I was surprised because even though I came well prepared, made sure I dry cleaned my suit, I made sure I brought a guy from my office to back me up because then we could double team him. I'm sitting down with him, I give him this nice presentation. He says, well, Chris, that's great. But let me ask you a question, Chris. Let's just say I have $10,000 I give you to play with today. You're saying you might be able to make me 12%, is that right? I said, well, I can't guarantee 12%, but that's what these little charts told me that the market's done, even though that hasn't really done it that much, but that's what these charts say. So you can make, 12% is possible. He says, okay, Chris, well, that's $1,200 in a year I can make from that $10,000 with you. But Chris, I can actually take that same $10,000, I can go put that into my business. I can go buy a semi-truck because they had an automotive business, a semi-truck business, and I can go put a $10,000 down payment on a truck, turn around a few months later and sell it to make a $20,000 profit in just a few months compared to your $1,200. Why would I invest my money with you? And I was like, well, I mean, come on. I mean, that's business. It's risky. You should be diversified. Primarily diversified in whatever I have to sell you, please. That's what I was thinking. I didn't say that out loud. But I did say, you should be diversified. You should put all your eggs in that business basket. He said, okay, good to know. See ya. And that was it. And it bugged me. And I even went to like some of the top guys in my office. I said, what would you have said? They're like, I don't know. He had a good point. So they didn't even have anything for me. And that's the truth, guys, is that when it comes to investing, right? Financial advisors, although they're licensed to sell you mutual funds, it does not make them good advisors. People that can give you good financial advice, especially if your goal is to become financially free. Financial advisors can't become financially free. I know this firsthand because just later that next year, I'm talking to a friend. He says, well, how many of your clients are financially free? Well, I said, well, they're retired ones, but they're still worrying about money. I wouldn't say they're free. Okay, well, there's a problem, Chris, right there. But how about this, Chris? How many of you as financial advisors are financially free, not off the commissions you're earning, but actually doing these mutual fund investments? And I know a few of you here are like, yeah, like tell them, yes, right. Every time I'm on a real estate podcast, they're always like cheering when I say this. And I said, well, none of them. There's guys who've been working here since the late 1970s. I was born when these guys were advisors, and they still can't retire either. He says, well, get a clue. Hello, enough said. And so that's what got me on that journey of looking for something else. Instead of trying to just go with the traditional beaten path that financial advisors have taken, which by the way, hasn't really proven people to become financially free. And every time you ever hear them talk about clients that were, it's all because those clients had some business that they sold for millions and millions of dollars and then put the money with them. It wasn't because they got rich with those mutual funds, it's because they got rich and then they invested with those guys. Cause and effect is not what you think it is. Unfortunately, they're telling you, hey, just save $100 a month or save $20,000 a year in your 401k or whatever, and you'll become financially free down the road. But the harsh reality is, guys, it's not happening. Even Fidelity, they run their stats. Only 1.8% of their people have at least $1 million in their accounts. And of those, 35% of them were polled and said they think it'll take a miracle to be able to retire because, not because they just have $1 million, but because financial advisors tell you should only pull off 3% a year. That's $30,000 a year if you have $1 million. That's not enough to have a comfortable retirement. Would you say that? I mean, of course not. Now, I know there's going to be one or two of you will say, well, I'm single, I'm living on $30,000 a year just fine, especially because I don't live in California. Okay, that's great. Good for you. But for many of you, I know some of you guys are married, you might have children, and let's be honest, you might want to do more than just try to eke out a survival. You want to have a life. You want to be able to enjoy your life too, have freedom, not just financial independence. And so that's where you're looking for the financial advice. If you're looking for financial freedom, you got to find people that are actually financially free, not just the last couple years, right? Don't just find somebody who happened to buy the right stock or the right opportunity. Even people that make good money in their businesses or jobs are not great for financial advice. I can't tell you how many times that we have a lot of dental clients and they're brilliant people and they're great at their profession. They make good money, but they'll be the first to admit that they don't know how to grow their money. That's a different skill set. Making money is one thing. Making income is one thing. Growing your money is a completely different skill set that many of them were never taught or learned for themselves. That's why they come to us trying to figure out how they can actually invest their money better so they can become work optional, where they work in their practice because they want to, not because they have to. And so you got to understand that it's not just about making money. Don't let the people that make high incomes deceive you. Just like someone who's a business owner, maybe they sold their business for millions of dollars, doesn't mean that they know how to invest money. It doesn't mean that they know how to be financially free either. They knew how to build a great business, but it didn't mean they became financially free. Now, if you're looking to build a great business, follow those people, especially if they've done it more than once. If they've done it over and over and over again, they got a good system, you better listen to them. That's the advice I would get. That's business advice, maybe not financial advice, but business advice. That's the advice I look for. I look for those that have been there, done that, and they're still doing it now. Like they've been able to replicate it and prove it. My own life, after I left being a financial advisor, I was able to later on that next year retire when I was 28 years old. And then I went broke in the last recession because I started to gamble with my money a little bit too much, try to hit home runs instead of base hits. Well, I ended up going over from millionaire to upside down millionaire. I was over $1 million in debt, had to pay all that back and negotiate, do everything I could to help get out of that debt hole. And then from there, save up money to then invest and get out of the rat race, so to speak, or become financially independent the second time at the end of 2016. I'm just surpassing my 8th anniversary of doing that. And so that's where it becomes different, right? Especially because I had to replicate it twice in my own life, and then I got clients to do it again for themselves too. That's how you know. That's what you look for, is who was able to do it themselves and even help others do the same. Don't trust a person that say, hey, I got rich off Bitcoin a few years ago, so I'm a good investor. No, they're not. I made good money off Bitcoin, and I would not say, based on that experience alone, that would make me a good investor. I was a good gambler, right? I just happened to have good timing, but I did nothing to influence the results of that. I just bought when it was low, sold when it was high, which, by the way, there's a lot of people that are saying they're Bitcoin multimillionaires or billionaires that still haven't sold their Bitcoin to really be legitimately millionaires or billionaires, because as long as it's still there, they haven't sold it off, they're not rich yet, right? So it's not that that's a bad thing, but remember, if they've done it for years and years, maybe the last 10 plus years, they've known how to buy and sell and do stuff, cool. Maybe you learn how to become a Bitcoin trader, but that does not mean that, again, they're an investing expert. Look for those that actually have been there and done that. That's why we have this channel, this Money Ripples channel, which, by the way, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because this is the kind of stuff that we teach that I've learned over the years. Even after being a financial advisor, learning the things that actually help me create financial business for myself and many of our other clients too, and they actually feel at peace, right? That's the key thing. Like even now, the second time around, I feel much more safe and comfortable with my investments because I took less risk. I don't believe in high risk creates high returns. That's what gamblers say. Though that's what financial advisors trying to sell you crap says. That's not what real investors say. They try to lower the risk to create higher returns. So go for the financial advice of what you want. If you want to learn how to pay off debt, Go for somebody who's actually able to pay off debt and do it really well, or help others to do the same even. There's plenty of people who do that, myself included, right? If you're looking for ways to save on taxes, find accountants that have done a good job helping people save on taxes legitimately, not by breaking any laws or getting audited and finding out they were wrong, right? Find people that have great reputations by delivering the results, not just in their own life, but in the lives of others. That is the key way to find the best financial advice. So find these people that you can talk to about that. Again, you can always talk to us. We also have moneyripples.com. You can always go and visit if you want to learn how to actually create financial freedom for yourself. That's something that we actually teach our clients to do. But find somebody. It doesn't have to be us necessarily, but find somebody who legitimately actually does it. The whole reason that we did it ourselves is because I couldn't find anybody I could refer to. I couldn't find anybody who I could trust to say, hey, can you help my people? Can you help my friends and family do the same thing? We had to just do it ourselves because nobody was doing a good job. They were all these big promises and crappy delivery. It was overpromise, underdeliver. So obviously, feel free to, of course, not just subscribe to this channel, but even reach out to us at moneyripples.com if you want to know how to do that in your life right now.